YouTube was at Mr. Borzad back with another banger. In this video, Carlos Adames gets robbed versus Hamzah Sheeraz in London by way of Saudi Arabia. Let's get it. First of all, this fight was very entertaining from start to finish because it was the momentum shift that was the story of this fight, right? Because it was extremely competitive. In fact, Hamzah Sheeraz started off hot. I believe he won the first 4 rounds. He outpunched Carlos Adames in the first 4 rounds, and I believe Carlos's corner told him he had to up the intensity, right? um, after the first 4 rounds, Carlos Adames pretty much took over the fight, winning like 7 of the next 8 rounds, ultimately winning him the fight. Because in boxing, if it's a 12-round fight, you need to win 7 rounds to get a decision, right? 7 rounds means you win one more than half, which is six, meaning you're the winner. And I think it was pretty clear that he was the winner. But Sean Porter, I'm on his. He did a terrible job commentating this fight. Sean Porter usually does a decent job. He's usually unbiased. But Carlos clearly dominated this fight, and Sean Porter was trying to convince the public that Hamzah Sheeraz was winning. And if you fell for the bait, then you might have the brain of a plankton, you might have the brain of a shrimp, you might have the brain of a worm, you might have the brain of bacteria, the brain of a cancer cell. Because if you honestly think Hamzah Sheeraz won this fight, you are casual in boxing and you get easily swayed by the commentators in the fight. Um, and I think Carlos Adames won unanimously, or at least split decision, But the judges had something else in mind. They had something else planned, and their plan was to, if Carlos won, either give it to Shiraz. They couldn't give it to Shiraz; that would be too obvious. So they made it a draw, which was what they did when Triple G beat Canelo, which is what they did when Deontay beat Tyson Fury. Instead of robbing you, like making it obvious, they'll make it a draw. You feel me? And it's just disgusting how that happened. And yeah, they robbed him from a unanimous decision, and they made it a split decision draw, right? So honestly, low key, I understand where Tank was coming from. Tank Tank be said, even though I don't like Tank, Tank know what he be talking about when he talking about the politics of boxing, right? And he pretty much said he don't think he can win a decision versus Devin Haney. And I agree. You can't win a decision versus Devin Haney. Now, Ryan Garcia won a decision versus Devin Haney, but Tank Davis don't think he can. And that's for him to think. I'm not here to argue against it. But what I will say is this was the first sign of corruption that I've seen in Saudi. That was very corrupt. Well, it wasn't in Saudi, but it was by Saudi, right? It was hosted by Saudi, held in London. But it was a terrible look, right? That was a clear robbery. That was unjustified. That was nonsense, right? So it was a terrible look. And if I'm Carlos Adames, Hamza gets no rematch from me. If I'm Carlos, Hamza gets no rematch from me. There's no need for me to rematch him. Um, Absolutely no need to rematch Hamza Sheeraz. Hamza Sheeraz could go fight another one of the champions and beat them fair and square. You feel me? Because he didn't beat Carlos, and it wasn't a draw either. It was not a draw. And it was nonsense. But what's next for Carlos Adames and what's next for Hamza Sheeraz? First of all, Carlos Adames, since he was the winner, or he should have been a winner, I believe the next thing for him should be a unification, right? I think a huge unification would be him versus Janabek, because Janabek is already unified. So Carlos versus Janabek would be a huge, interesting fight to watch. Um, if I'm Demetrius Andrade, I'm trying to get to 160 and fight these guys. Honestly, I'm trying to go to 160 and fight these guys. If I'm Andrade, but it's interesting at 160, right? It's not big names at 160, but it's good fighters at 160, and I like good fighters more than I care about big names. Cool, it's good for the media. It's good to get some views on YouTube, but I like boxing at the end of the day, and I like seeing the best guys fight each other. I like seeing the science on display so I can break it down, watch film videos. Cause I'm a nerd, low key. I'm a low key nerd. I like stimulating my brain with knowledge, and I like watching film back and understanding what I'm looking at, so I can understand it going forwards to look for who gonna win. You feel me? So knowledge is power, and I like understanding what's going on. But Carlos Adames, in fact, him versus Lara would be huge as well. The Dominican Republic versus Cuba, that'll be a huge fight for the Spanish boxing fans. And the thing is, they two black dudes representing Cuba and the DR, right? They speak Spanish, but they two black dudes. So whoever that's a I'm whoever the made the best man win. I think Lara beats Carlos. Me personally, I think Lara beats him. But Janet Beck versus Carlos is gonna be a hell of a fight, and I would love to see it. In fact, Lara versus Janet Beck, I would love to see that as well. I just want to see good fights. You feel me? What's next for Hamza? I don't know. Maybe he fight in the title eliminator. Maybe he fights one of the other champions. Hamza got good opportunities, but if I'm the champions, I'm looking at him sideways because that was, or at least the fight is happening in my country. The fight can't happen in his country. The fight got to happen in my country because it looks like he's their golden boy. I think they said he's an ambassador of Saudi, so he's an ambassador of Saudi, and the fight was in London, and he's from London, so it was a bad look. It was a very bad look. It looked like much corruption going on, and I'm disgusted. Right, my stomach turned when they said it was a draw. Right, my stomach turned, and honestly, I think more importantly, there needs to be an undisputed champion at 160. I think Shiraz got plenty of time to work himself back up to that level. But I think there needs to be an undisputed champion at 160. So make it happen. Let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this to next time.